Hi, welcome back to Box Delights with Barbarians, the Invasion from Tabular Games. It doesn't look like it from the box, but this is your classic Euro game. Worker placement, resource management, there's a little bit of area control as well, but at its heart it's an unadulterated Euro through and through. Well, maybe a little bit adulterated, because what you're going to see is this pretty heavy theme on top. There's miniatures in here instead of meeples. You can buy the wooden version. This is the deluxe version, which has miniatures which you can replace with wooden meeples instead of these guys. This is one heavy box. There's a lot of stuff in here. And this, I guess, is the unique selling point. It's the worker placement mechanism. This is a volcano and they have rotating layers. I was really drawn to it because of this rondelle, and of course you will be. This is the main thing. It doesn't really work like a rondelle. Instead, it looks like one, but what you're doing instead is you're placing your workers, these are your workers, on these action selection spots. But you don't place your next worker or move your workers around it. What you do is you go down the volcano in steps, and where your workers can go is dictated by where you are on the volcano. So from here, for example, I can go into this section or this section because I'm overlapping them. And then once I'm in here, I can then go down further to, these aren't quite lined up how they should be, I can go down to this section or this section, so one of these 4 actions, and so on. Okay, and then different mechanisms in the game will be turning these things to change which actions become available in this sequence. So it's kind of rondelle, all right? It's kind of rondelle. All right, so I'll show you how it all works. We're going to dive straight into gameplay. And then underneath, I'll say this is a heavy box. This is our game board. And we have various maps to supplement this. So there's one game board, pretty huge. This is going to take up a lot of table space. And then for the area control part, this is the Kickstarter version that has bonus maps. You've got a standard map, which is this one. This is where you start and your forces move outwards from here. There's a flip side, which has this kind of horizontal, this what they call a northern map. And then there was a Kickstarter bonus, which is this additional map here. Okay, there's an expansion in here. So what you get is the base game plus some additional cards. This is where the tokens were. We've got rule books in different languages. We've got some extra tokens that we use in this expansion. These extra beasts, and monsters and so on that you use in the expansion. And then we've got some player boards, 1 to 4. It says 2 to 4 on the box, but this has got solo rules in it, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take on the solo rules. Okay, let's grab one of these. Our aim in the game is, like I say, to score points. And what they do in the solo version, and this is pretty neat. It is kind of like, just get the highest points value you can. All right, there's no getting away from that. But what they do is they give you different difficulty levels. So the challenge is on easy level, try and get more than 60 points, and then it climbs upwards. So it says here in the solo rules, easy 80 points, normal 100, hard 130, insane 150, or custom choose your own, and record your highest results. So start off, try and aim for that target of 60, but if you manage higher, then you're obviously hitting those higher difficulty levels. Otherwise, the game's not scaled at all in terms of difficulty. There is a dummy player, and its actions are determined by the turning of a card. Acting on that dummy player is really streamlined. Okay, there's not, you're not actually doing a great deal for it. You're just following the card, dup, 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 really quick, very little downtime, just pushing out that dummy player's actions. And really, what it's doing is it's taking places up on the rondelle here, and taking areas on the map here. So to simulate the idea that you haven't always got all actions available in a multiplayer game. You haven't always got all regions available to you in a multiplayer game. I will show you how to set this one up solo, and we'll dive straight into that gameplay, and we'll talk about the different areas of the board and how you get to that winning condition. How do you get the points that you're chasing? The fundamentals of it are that we're barbarians. We live on this volcano. We gather resources from this volcano. And with those resources, we can make buildings. And alongside building buildings and giving us resources, so it's the traditional Euro, you've got food, wood, iron, stone, and you've got gold as well. With those resources, you can build stuff. You can summon gods. You can employ warlords to help you in the battle to obtain lands. And the reason you obtain lands is because that's the biggest place where you get most of your points. Okay? But I say we'll look at that in detail once we get into gameplay. So I've picked up the red player, so we're going to pick up the red player's pieces, and we're going to use another player. Let's grab blue to act on the board. We're all based around, living around this volcano, and on this big map, here it is. This is the starting land, so we're all going to have, these are banners that represent our incursion into these lands. We've got our own banners. Each player has their own banners. All right. You don't need to place them here. Just keep them in your player area, but for the sake of understanding, what these are going to do is expand across the map. And as we turn over one of those cards that drive the AI of the non-player, we'll see these expand. And as we're taking actions, because this is an action-based game, we're going to be expanding across this map as well, trying to win those points. These are our action selection tokens, which, like I say, are miniatures. They just happen to be miniatures. This is not a minis game. They're just what would be wooden cubes in any other Euro. These are the dummy workers, though, that we're going to use for that dummy player. The ones that are going to block different worker spots. Notice these rings. It's pretty cool. So you can take these off and use these miniatures in your other games. These are just to indicate which miniatures belong to which player. These are going to be randomized. So we're going to fit your volcano like this to start the game. That's important, right? These two action spots, each one of these circles is an action spot, line up with these white kind of steps up onto the volcano or whatever they are. The artwork's really cool though, right? We're going to cover quite a lot of this with stuff as we set up, but there you go. So this always sets up here. These lines represent the breaks between steps on the positions on each ring of the volcano. So set them up pointing to the middle, like so. So the next one is going to be, see this one's going to point to the middle here, but kind of randomize it. Incidentally, each one of these has a flip side, so you can take these off, turn them over, and then you've got an alternative or an alternate volcano with different action spots. And those action spots represent things that come in this little mini expansion that comes in the base game. I think I'm just going to show you the base game, not the expansion stuff, since I think that helps people get into the game. Right, so we're going to randomly place the dummy player's workers on here. The rulebook says do it randomly. I'm guessing they just mean, go ahead and do something like this. But I'm going to roll a die. Let's say this is number 1. We'll go clockwise. 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll start with 1 here. And then we'll go down. It's 3. So 1, 2, 3. Final 1 here. Alright, so there we go. We've randomly placed. I mean, choose to do it how you want. I'm a sucker for doing it completely randomly with a die. Place these, and that's just really, like I say, just blocking out some spots. We are going to need some other pieces for the non-player. We don't need their victory point tracker, so we'll put that one back in the box. We don't need their resource trackers, we'll put those back in the box. We do need our resource trackers, so we'll grab those. Alright, put the cards and everything else off to one side for now. Okay. Resources. This is your player board. And on here we track our resources. We have a maximum of 6 of each resource, so you can't go over. And we've got little miniatures to track these things. So for food, we have a food miniature, and everything starts at 3 at the start of the game. So we'll put 3 here, 3 wood, 3 iron, 3 stone, and 3 gold, a little chest. You know, these have been really well done, so attention to detail in this deluxe version. Yeah, where else are you going to get food and lumber that looks like this? Pretty cool, huh? And we also have 3 different types of troops, and we've got 3 tracks here, and we start with 2 here. So we start with 2 archers, and we've got a miniature here to represent the archers. Berserkers, 2 berserkers to start the game. And 2 raiders. These are the troops that we're going to be taking with us as we go to war on these lands. Okay, we're not going to need this die anymore, I don't think. Victory point token on the 0 spot. This tracker here represents our honour. It starts at 0. We're actually going to start the non-player character down at 0 as well. And as we pass each one of these milestones, it gives us a little bonus. It's typically resources or some training and some skills, because these trackers here, there's 4 of them, represent our skills. We start at 0, no spot, but they track up and down like this. Right, there's 4 spots, and whichever player gets to the end first gets a bonus. Okay, these AI cards that drive the non-player character, they're going to push their skills, their training up this track as well. Okay, up these different tracks. This one here represents how far we can travel. This one here is our defense when we're in battles. I'll show you this. This one gives us a resource bonus when we're taking actions to gather resources, and this one says how many buildings we can profit from in the maintenance phase when buildings pay. Well, we need some cards, and here on the board there's spots for 1, 2, 3 demons and 1, 2, 3 feasts. There's 4 of each. There's more that come with the expansion, I think 4 of each. So we're just going to take 1 away, put those back in the box, populate these. Okay, the ram's skull, if you like, whatever, goes here in the beer jug for the feasts. These come out at the end of every round of the game. So 6 rounds or eras in the game. So the game is of fixed length. Now each one of these we've either got to pay a cost or receive some reward. Okay? Or indeed exchange some resources for a reward. Right, but again, I'll show you that at the end. So demons, for example, you've got to pay a gold or you lose victory points. Okay, what they call domination. Right, these are the different lands when we're fighting over here. These are the enemies that we're going to face. Different types of terrain have different enemies. So you've got woodland, we've got tundra, mountains and swamps, I think it is. Now, for the solo game, there's 3 decks. In the multiplayer game, there's a kind of a resource display where you can go and grab gods, buildings, warlords. In the solo game, this is one of the fewer rules that works differently. What we do in the solo game is we take a deck and we stack it. All right. So what we're going to do is we take 14 buildings, 2, 4, 14. We take 10 warlords. Shuffle. 2, 10. And we take 10 gods, and everything else goes back to the box. Okay, so these go back to the box. And what we do then is shuffle these up into a single deck. Alright, so kind of do it a little bit blindly if you wish. Okay. And then we create an offer with these of 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And these are the cards that are going to be available to us every turn, every round, every era. Okay, we're nearly done with setup. Next thing we do is populate these lands over here. This is our starting land. This is the land with the volcano. And then alongside this is 3 regions. The regions of Fenian. And then there's an island here called Arun. Okay, and this one has 4 regions. And then Bernhur. Forgive my pronunciation. K and Doharan. And the first one to conquer a region in each of these islands gets a bonus to their victory points. And we use these tokens to represent that. These square tokens. Token in each region. And this is up for grabs. If a non-player goes in there, then we don't take the bonus. That's basically how it goes. And then next, we populate these lands, each region with a tribe, okay, or a clan. And these different clans, there's a red one, a purple one, a green, and a grey or black one, gives us variable numbers of victory points, and depending on the colour, different penalties for losing battles against them. And again, I'll show you that when we come to it. So for example, if you fail against the red clan, you lose troops and you lose some victory points. All right? Okay, so what we do is we randomise these, turn them all face down, give them a good shuffle, and then we'll start filling in these regions. Now some of these regions, like this one here, says 4+ on it or 3+ on it. We're going to leave those empty. They're not involved in this game, they're excluded from the game. All right? So with fewer numbers of players, if you're playing 2-player or solo, these regions are unreachable. Okay, so it kind of scales the land. We can turn these over as we place them. And you should have 6 left over, they'll go back to the box. So these are tribes that we won't be fighting. Now we have just one choice to make each player, and we'll do this in player order. The player order is determined by that on a track up there. We're playing solo, so it doesn't matter. Is we get to take some starting training skills here. Now we can either fill up the first spot of 2 tracks, or 1 track up to its second spot. Okay. So basically we get to earn 2 training points and distribute however we wish. These points down here represent the barbarian tactics in battle. If we're facing these types of clans when we go off and fight, this is how difficult those battles will be to win. These ones up here is kind of like your tech tree, if you like. This is your barbarian knowledge. Now, am I going to be battling quite quickly? There's a juicy 5 and 6 points up there, so that's quite tempting, and a lot of those are really the highest ones. There's a 6-pointer here, but these 5s and 6, yeah. Oh, there's another 6 here. I'm kind of tempted by those. I mean, with these economic games, often you think, well, building up your resources is the right thing to do. What I should do, it may depend on which god I get. Every player gets a starting god, and I forgot to do that, so let's draw one randomly. Okay, this one says, this is its ability, I can turn gold and stone into victory points. So production of gold and stone is maybe a priority for me. This one I keep, the rest go back to the box. Right, so that's the starting one, and this may well govern how you play the game. It's one of the biggest variables in setup. Which god do you get? Alright, I'll show you how to use those as it goes. Every time you get a god, you get victory points. This one says 3, so that's domination it's called. So I should start on 3. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to push the red one up 2 spots.